Last year, I went up 2 of the 3 peaks of the UK. Follow me as I journey up Snowdon, Scafell Pike and various other Wainwrights on 2 separate adventures with my mates. So, last summer I was advertising one of my YouTube videos on Reddit when someone posted a comment under my post. This person turned out to be an outdoorsy, up for anything lad named Mickey. Him and his British bulldog Buddy were offering to guide me around the Wainwrights for a couple of days sometime that summer. For those of you who don't know what the Wainwrights are, Alfred Wainwright was a British fell walker and author, who is most known for his 7-volume pictorial guide to the Lakeland Fells book series, published between 1955 and 1966. These books document and illustrate 214 of the fells in the English Lake District. These books became very popular for their depth of detail and unique style of writing, to the point where, to this day, people still refer to those fells as the Wainwrights, in honour of the man who spent most of his life walking them. And at the time I thought, fuck it, I've got nothing else going on this month. So I decided to go up to the Lake District with Adam, a Liverpool fan who I'd met in Germany during the Euros a few months prior, to see what it was all about. Now that the backstory is set, let's get on with the hiking. On our first day, we warmed up by doing cowbells, a relatively easy hike that only took us about an hour or so to go up. It's a very pleasant and popular track that is located next to the town we were staying in, so it's easy to get to as well. In all honesty, there's not much to talk about here besides the fact that the weather went from sunny and warm to pissing it down within about 20 minutes of our ascent, which, although a tad annoying, in all honesty is to be expected in the Lake District, so we weren't really that fazed about it. Considering how small this hill is though, the view you get of the lake and all the Wainwrights surrounding it is pretty awesome. Just be a bit careful of the rocks near the top that get slippery when it rains. The second day was the real test. Mickey had planned an itinerary for us that would make us go up 4 Wainwrights in one single day. This included Lingmel, Great End, Scafell and Scafell Pike, the tallest mountain in England. Which I can tell you now is the kind of challenge I wasn't expecting to be as difficult as it ended up being. Lingmel was the warm-up, a good little hike with some fun obstacles and views to look at. We're still on the level where nature's vibrant with grass and trees all around, with the occasional sheep just sitting there like telling us to go away or something.
How high are we? Did you tell your altitude now? We're 2,000 feet over. Okay. So nearly half, yeah. Half the elevation that we need to do. So we're off the route that we're supposed to be going, only by a tiny little bit, but the way we're going, it joins back up again. So okay, right, carry on. We haven't got to go back down there, put it that way.
Everyone was still pretty chatty at this point, sort of getting to know each other and stuff, bearing in mind this was like the first time we had really been hanging out together, so there was a lot of sort of catching up to do. And once we were done with Lingmel, it was straight on to the next one, no breaks. Great End was cool. I believe that's the one we stopped at for lunch. This was the fell where things definitely started to get a little bit harder. A lot of the time we were sort of just trying to keep up pace with Mickey, who, you know, does this like every weekend, so obviously we were sort of playing catch up the whole time. But it was still enjoyable at this point nonetheless. People usually set up these stone seating areas at the top of all of these fells to help shield you from the wind. It's a perfect place to have a little rest and a well-earned snack.
We've been here 2 minutes, you already think you live here.
After this, we had the true challenge, Scafell Pike, which ended up not being as challenging as doing it on its own because we were pretty much already 2/3 up by the time we were on the path to crest it, thanks to Great End. Once at the top of Scafell Pike, we were about 978 meters above sea level. And Buddy became the tallest dog in the whole of England for about 3 seconds until another dog showed up and stole his spotlight. But we weren't done yet. Our sense of achievement for cresting the highest point in England was overshadowed because we had a whole other Wainwright to do. That one being Scafell, which despite having the same name as the other one is actually a separate mountain that took another hour just to get to. This one felt difficult. Probably since it was the last one we had to do, but it felt particularly long and our progress seemed very slow. There was one area where we were literally climbing up some sort of waterfall nestled in between two mountains. It was awesome to look at, but quite slow and difficult to climb. The weather on one peak can be completely different to the weather on another at the same time. And since you're so high up, you can really feel that difference on a different level. Like what happened when we were near the top of Scafell. So Mickey's just completed it, it's literally right here. And I'm gonna do it. Adam's opted to not do it because it's like a little bit rocky and dangerous, but it's literally right here. And this is the peak of Scafell. Oh, fuck me. How do I go? 2 seconds. That's it. Pile of rocks. Can't see fuck all. Are you coming up as well?
Of course I am.
I think we've done 4 today. 4 peaks in one day. That is a good. I'm happy with that. After the last peak was crested, it was time to head back down. And our achievements were once again short-lived as it ended up taking us ages and a lot of falling on our asses to make it back down to the car. Since we were already taking an unusual path back down the mountain, there were a few proper vertical areas we went down thinking they would be shortcuts, but ended up taking ages because Adam and I were like genuinely scared of falling down and breaking our necks, which is a bit dramatic, but you get the point. Yeah, I really can't say the path back down was very enjoyable, to be honest. For me, the best parts of the day were the trails we took in between each Wainwright. Going from one mountain to another across narrow paths with drops on both sides and rocky areas to hop across, that shit will never not be cool as fuck, in my opinion. I, in all honesty, felt pretty fucked after this day, and I didn't really want to do another 4 Wainwrights tomorrow, which was what Mickey had planned for us. So Adam and I kindly said that we were gonna do our own thing instead. My words of advice in hindsight would be, do not underestimate the Wainwrights like I did. There are parts that become surprisingly difficult if you're not being careful or if you're just winging it without a guide. Also, shout out to Mickey, who at this point in time had completed about 2/3 of all Wainwrights documented in the UK, which is absolutely no small feat. Go check him out on Instagram, link in the description. Thanks for being our guide, mate. It was a really cool experience that I will remember for a very long time. And of course, good luck to you and Buddy on completing all of the Wainwrights in the future. So the next day, Adam and I decided to go solo, and we thought it would be cool to do the second highest point in England, a Wainwright named Helvellyn. The weather was most definitely not on our side either. Helvellyn was a deceptively long hike. From the bottom you get this stone step path that winds up to the top. Very long and quite hard on the thigh muscles. There were points further up where the weather was really ramping up against us, which had Adam and I questioning whether we should keep going. But we decided to push through it, and once you get to the top of a slope, it does get much easier. The mountain pretty much flattens out and you end up going across a plateau for another half hour or so until you get to the actual top. This is the plateau where I got this really cool drone shot. The last part of this hike was definitely the most enjoyable part of the day. Although the weather was against us for a good portion of the ascent, by the time we got to the plateau it mellowed out a bit and we were able to truly take in our surroundings and how far we'd come. And of course, getting to the top and completing what we set out to do brings an immense sense of accomplishment that I'm sure I'll remember for a long time. In conclusion, it was a good few days in the Lake District. I discovered a part of the UK I had never been to before, I completed a task that challenged me physically and mentally, and came out of it the other end with a sense of achievement and a few new friends. I'm so glad I got to do all of this with Adam, who was absolutely sound throughout the whole holiday. He pretty much planned the whole thing out and drove me everywhere as well, so thank you mate, you're a legend. Jordan, do you want to show me what you got from the shop?
So I got these 2 glow sticks, really happy with them, high quality, 15 hours each, one's orange, one's green. Really excited to use this.
Oh yeah, I'll jump out, yeah.
I'm really excited to use these.
Okay.
Did you record that?
Yes. The next weekend, I went over to Wales with my mates from back home, Jordan and Matt. We'd been toying around with the idea of going up a mountain together for some time. Then after some deliberation, we had decided that Snowdon was the best one to do, as we could get there in the early afternoon, take our time to get up there by night time, wild camp near the top of a mountain, then finish in the morning and be back home by the evening the next day. So we started in the early afternoon, thinking we would easily make it to where we wanted to be by late afternoon. However, it turns out that the path we picked, the Watkin path, which is the second hardest one you can do, ended up being a bit harder than what my friends had accounted for. Jordan in particular struggled because of the fact that he was carrying 2 separate bags the whole time, one of which was one of those hip bags which must have become so uncomfortable to hike with after a few hours. I did genuinely feel a bit bad for him at points. About 2 hours in though, when we hit our stride, we really all felt like we were the Fellowship on a mission to destroy the ring and like nothing could stop us. But our pace was definitely lacking a bit. By the time we made it to the plateau where we found a suitable patch to camp, it was pretty much night time. So we then had to like scramble a bit to get all of our tents up and shit. Yeah, it was a bit messy, but we got it done in the end. The meal for the evening was ramen noodles, which were honestly not very nice, but I think we were all so hungry that we didn't really care much about the lack of taste. By the time we were done for the day, we were all absolutely knackered. But Jordan in particular was saying he was pretty much done with the whole thing. We thought a good night's rest would change his mind though. However, the next day, despite us offering to help him with his bags in the morning... Right, we're one man down. So Jordan's decided to go home. Got anything to say, Jordan?
Oh man, I can't pack this tent in. I pack this tent in. I've rolled it like 6 times, it looks like a fucking hot dog, look at it. By the time you come down, I'll still be rolling this.
Alright, well, we'll see you later, mate, yeah?
Everyone.
Jordan had made his decision and was throwing in the towel. It was very sad to see, considering we were so close to the top, but to be entirely fair to him, this last part was by far the worst we had to do. This last stretch was pretty much a climb, barely a scramble. There were moments where I was legitimately one bad foot position away from falling off the rocks. That is not an exaggeration. It was genuinely quite scary. Our massive bags with all of our camping gear in them were making the whole process so much more dangerous and slower. And Matt and I took a lot of time to complete it. But eventually, after about 20 different breaks, we made it to the top. Our sense of achievement with this one was short-lived, as we needed to head back down quite quickly to find Jordan. I still don't really know what that bloke was talking about at the top though. It could have been very vital information for the future of humanity, but I guess we'll never know. Anyways, out of all the mountains I'd crested in this short amount of time, I would say Snowdon was definitely the hardest single mountain that I did, simply because of the path we picked to do it on. All the other ones I know I could have done individually within a reasonable amount of time on my own. The reason why I found them so difficult at the time was because we were doing multiple of them in one go. But for this Snowdon one, in of itself was 4 Wainwrights wrapped into one. It was hard. So that's it. 2 of the 3 peaks are done. 1 to go. I don't know when I'll be doing Ben Nevis. It's not at the top of my bucket list, but I'll definitely do it one day. And hopefully you'll be watching when it happens. Until then, have a good one, mate, and see you later.